This is Voice to Culture, a podcast for the modern day confused citizen. Hi, I'm Helen.
I'm Kelly.
I'm Michelle.
I'm Amy.
And I'm Carolyn.
So with college decisions coming out, a lot of us are wondering how we can afford college and which is the best option for you. So different college options, there's obviously your classic in California, there's, UCs, there are private colleges and there are community colleges. And with all these different options, obviously there are different price points and there's a lot of stigma around community college, even though it is a really good option and it is like really affordable. And especially if you transfer, like here in California, it's very easy because like the UCs have
the tag program. So basically,
the tag program. But like there's like something else that they call, I forgot what it is. But yeah, the tag program, it guarantees you a spot in a UC if you go to community college and you tag a UC. And like that's really helpful because your first 2 years, even at any college, is just like general education anyway. So like why not save money at 2 years of community and then you can transfer to a UC and you don't have to waste as much money. But there's like so much stigma around going to community college, especially as like an Asian American too. Like, I don't know, I feel like everyone has such high expectations. And especially here in this area, it's very competitive and it like, I don't know, it just kind of sucks. Like even now, like almost all college decisions are out and like it's kind of difficult for me right now to decide like where I want to go and like can I deal with, because like obviously community is a good option and I'm kind of considering it, but like it's like can I deal with 2 years of like I don't know, just like people around me and like family judging me, and like I don't know if I could handle that. So like, but then again I don't want to waste so much money because like I don't want to put my parents in debt, like because like they're fine with it, they're fine with either option and they don't care, they just want me to like go wherever I want to go pretty much. But it's like I feel bad for them, I don't want to put them in debt and it like really sucks. But yeah, I don't know, there's just like too much stigma. Like my parents personally, like I think they're fine with community, but it's like everyone else in my family. And also it's like I don't know, like the first thing, especially at our age, so even before like beginning from like last year, people are always like the first thing that they ask you, like even like strangers or like family or anyone, the first thing they ask you like, oh, like so where are you going for college? And I was like, oh, I don't know where I'm going for college because I haven't even applied yet. But now that college decisions are out there and be like, oh, okay, so where are you going? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like imagine if I say like a community college and they'll be like, oh, great, you're going there. And it's just like you can tell that they're judging you, but it like really sucks because it is a good option and like financially it's a great option, especially in California because now it's like free, I think, for the first 2 years or something.
Yeah, and additionally, not only is community college like affordable, it's much less like complicated if you decide to go through this route than like other transfer routes, because community college, they prioritize community college admissions over like first year admissions and like other transfer admissions. And like credit transferable because their courses are like especially designed to like transfer over to those. And like yeah, if you're just not happy with like the colleges you want to go to now, it's best you just go with the community college route, like if you go with the community college route, you have more time to think about like what you want for the future, and like what colleges you want and like what makes you happy. And like you also have like I think community college also like a way for you to like be like what major you also want as well. You have like different things to try and stuff, it gives you more time to decide. Also, yeah, it's more affordable as well. So yeah,
I think even aside from a financial standpoint, when you go to community college, you're forced to kind of apply to college all over again. You're forced to go through that process, but this time you actually have a counselor who's there to help you and guide you along the way. Because high school counselors, the ratio of like counselors to students is just like completely insane. Like I think I talked to my counselor maybe in a total of 5 times in my life, and it's just really hard to get their support versus like at community college. You're forced to kind of mature and grow up a little faster and take responsibility for your own life because no one else is going to, push you to graduate and push you to be an adult.
Yeah, so like you know how like in high school we were like, oh my gosh, I can't wait until college because then I can actually take the classes that I want. Well, in reality, college is like the first like when you first go into college, you have to to get into your major, you have to have prerequisite courses. So community college is actually a viable option if you want to complete your prerequisite courses first, and then like you could also do it on the side too if you want to go to a 4-year and then also like do your prerequisites on the side, because colleges have classes that are kind of cheap. So yeah, I feel like community college is stigmatized, but especially like since we're going through a literal pandemic, things are kind of like stability and like has been kind of like shook, like stability has gone out of the window. So like yeah, like right now we're rolling out vaccines, but you never know, like what if like it mutates again and it comes back. So it's always a safe choice, and it's also a financially stable choice because you know, you're close to home, and then you don't have to pay for dorming, classes are cheaper, but you still have to pay a lot for textbooks. So but yeah, community college is a really nice option. Also, you have to make sure to like look into the majors that you want, because some community colleges, well, if you're just taking prerequisite courses, then it doesn't really matter. But you have to be careful about which major that you want to go into, because if you transfer, then like you have to make sure that you're transferring with enough credits to go into that major.
So let's say you're still decided on going to 4 years straight after high school. How is it going to look like in the United States? Let's take a look at Biden's student loan plan as of March 21st, 2020.
On March 11, Biden signed the American Rescue Plan Act, which includes a provision that makes any student loan debt forgiveness tax-free from December 2020 through December 31st, 2025. And the proposal is to cancel $10K of federal student loan debt per person.
One way that you can, well, in terms of income, there's two different types. So first is active, wherein you're working at a job and you have a consistent schedule, and depending on how many hours that you clock in, you get paid a certain amount. This is compared to passive income, which is where your income is not directly tied to the work you do. An example of this would be where you run an online store and people buy products even when you're asleep. So it doesn't matter how many hours you work necessarily, it's more of how many people are buying from you.
So there's several different ways you can earn income. The first one being you work at, say, a 9-to-5 job. This is your earned income. The second is profit income. This is where you would own a business and you sell a service or product for more than its cost. Third is interest income. This is where you invest your savings in like a bank, and then over time, it'll gradually add up. Fourth is dividend income. This is where you buy shares or monetary parts in a company, such as investing in the stock market, in which case your money in those company shares will eventually grow and work for you.
Okay, so the fifth is rental income, which is where you would rent out your property to tenants. The sixth is capital gains income, where you buy and sell assets such as the stock market. And the seventh is royalty income, where you design, build, or make something unique, and you would charge people in business to use it. For example, musicians.
Well, I'm assuming that most of us have only really had experience with the first type of earning income where you work like part-time job. So do you guys think working a part-time job during high school is worth it? Why or why not?
Oh, Kelly already knows. Kelly already knows. Okay, so wow, this episode was made for me, wasn't it? Honestly, I feel like working a part-time job is rewarding, but it's also really draining on your health mentally and emotionally. Because for me, I worked 2 part-time jobs, and every single week I would work about 24 hours, and then I would also have schoolwork on top of that. And so because I didn't have that much time to do my schoolwork beyond my work shifts. I didn't have enough time to sleep. I didn't really have a social life. I didn't really have time to take care of myself, you know? And I feel like working part-time, it's really worth it if you love your job. But at the same time, it really makes me feel like a work machine because, you know, sometimes at school, like especially with online learning, all that really matters to teachers, or what it feels like from a student's perspective, is that you turn in your work and like that's it. And then at your job, you're just like a work machine. Like you just clock in and then you work for a certain amount of hours. So it's basically like what you produce rather than like who you are as a human being. And it's just like, it doesn't feel like you're you. Like it just feels like you're a work machine. And you know, like as a student who's like who still has to go through a lot, as like if you're a teenager, you know, you have to go through a lot. You have to figure out what college you want to go through. You have to figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life. You have to figure out like who you are as a person. It's just so much to deal with at the same time as like trying to raise money for your tuition and like all of that. It's just a lot of weight. And it's not something that a teenager should go through, but that's what society has like structured us to do unless we take out loans and or we rely on our parents, you know. Long story short, yes, a part-time job is worth it, but you have to be wary about how you manage your time and make sure to take care of yourself and your mental health and your physical health.
Yes, I'd say like TLDR, working a part-time job humbles you in a lot of ways, but you have to decide for yourself, is that something you want? So like for a part-time job, obviously like some people have to work a job to like support their family, which is completely understandable. In that case, like working a part-time job, there isn't any other option. It's just dependent on what kind of job you're going to take. So maybe that's a service job, maybe that's a tutoring job. But if you're doing the part-time job for the experience, or if you just don't have any other way to fill your time, or if you like want money but it's not like financial necessity, I would probably suggest to look for some other way to fill your time, just because I feel like working a part-time job for me as a tutor for an entire year, I just didn't enjoy my entire high school career, and it just felt very like going through the motions every day. It felt very mechanical, you know, to be waking up every day, be like, oh, I have to go to work. And like, sure, it is part of adulting. Like in your adult life, you're probably going to run into a job that you don't like, and then you're going to have to figure out how to quit. But I don't know, I guess you live and you learn, I'd say.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's worth it because like I haven't had a job yet, but yes, it is nice to you get to manage your own money, and you get it helps you transition to being an adult easier. But like even as an adult, I feel like a 9 to 5 job, like that's not what humans are built for. Like we're not like like Amy said, being a machine. Like we're not machines, we're not robots. And if you break down the 24 hours in a day, it's like you don't have enough time for yourself. You don't have enough time to self-care, because like how can you have enough time like to go to work, and then but you also have to like make your own food, and then you have to if you want to stay fit and healthy, you have to find time to work out and exercise, but then you need to get enough sleep per day, and you have to have time, you need to have some also free time to just have fun. And like that's not enough time in the day unless we have like 50 hours per day. Great, but we don't have 24 hours a day, and like sleep and work already takes up most of the time. Yeah, and then so obviously like since there's not enough time, especially as a student, like with all the work that you have too, it just adds on, and then soon enough you're like not sleeping at all. Like Amy here, she's not sleeping because she got work. And like all of us, like none of us are sleeping. Like I don't even have a job and I'm just not sleeping enough. So yeah, it's just like I don't know what we can do, because this work-life balance, whatever, it's already been set for so many years, but it's really like not how humans are supposed to go about in their lives.
So speaking of part-time jobs, we also like to talk about the minimum wage and the entire debate between raising minimum wage versus keeping it at what it is right now in the United States, which is $7.25. So a separate study of minimum wage hikes in low wage areas by researchers at UC Berkeley found that setting the price floor as high as 80% of average wages has no effect. This means that if you raise the minimum wage up to like, I want to say maybe like $10 or so, it's not going to have a substantial effect on, increasing the wage in low income areas, I believe.
So because we're facing high inflation rates, we also need to increase the minimum wage accordingly to avoid inconsistency for corporate employers. Most arguments against minimum wage are often like not really like against it in general. I think it's more so of how like the United States had handled like minimum wage. Like there was a 40% increase after a decade of inaction, raising the price from like $5.15 in 1997 to $7.25 in 2007. It's the inconsistent rates that raise difficulty for business owners. And so if we're able to implement a more consistent increase of minimum wage instead of like an abrupt change, it would be able to lift like 1.3 million workers out of poverty, And like a lot of people also argue that like 93% of the workers only need to work less than 25 years to like earn more than the minimum wage. But like, why do workers need to work 25 years to gain enough funds to support their basic necessities? And like also under those 25 years, they're earning below minimum wage too. Like it wasn't high enough to start off with. So like, what's the point?
And this also comes back to like diversifying your streams of income, because if you're only relying on your one like 9 to 5 job, or even like 2 to 3 part-time jobs, sometimes even working like 40, 50, 60 hours isn't enough to actually sustain like your home and your lifestyle and your basic necessities. So when people say like, oh, you should just work harder for the money, and it's like, no, there's a right way and a wrong way to like earn the amount of money you need to survive. And people really don't tell you what are like the more efficient ways to earn money and like support yourself.
Yeah, and like the minimum wage is also like racist, obviously, because everything, because systemic racism, like Black and Hispanic workers would disproportionately benefit from the minimum wage increase. And like why is that? Is obviously because because of how low the minimum wage is now, they're at a huge disadvantage. Like it's been proven over and over again, those with a higher wage are more productive and they're more happy. Like obviously if you're working for $7 an hour at like McDonald's versus like $15 at In-N-Out, like where are you gonna go? You're gonna go to In-N-Out, and it's like not worth it. Like especially if you work with like customer service and like fast food places, it just like you have to deal with Karens all day. So it's like, am I really gonna have to deal with this for just $7? Like no, I'm not gonna deal with it. So obviously your work, it's not gonna be the best because you're gonna be like, oh, whatever, it's just $7 an hour. But like if you're working for $15 an hour, then you're gonna be much happier, and you greet your customers a lot better, you work with them more. Overall productivity and people's happiness is gonna increase. And like, don't you want that as an employer? And like $7.25, that's like complete BS. Like seriously.
We need to stop subsidizing like rich corporations because they're not the ones losing the profit. Like as they've said before, as productivity goes up, minimum wage should also be going up. The National Restaurant Association makes over 4 to 5 times the profit margin of Walmart, but they're still fighting to keep $2 as the minimum wage. Like workers are the ones that are making the difference in the profits. So why isn't their hard work being paid off? Like raising the wage to like a mere like 50 cents, it's not going to destroy jobs. Also, it's like people also argue like, oh yeah, like as technology is advancing, it'll also be like replacing like jobs, but it's like not possible to replace like several jobs like waitresses, and like also additionally like San Jose and San Francisco have the minimum wage implementations, and they're like one of the most fastest growing industries of like all cities in the country.
It'd be really cool if we did like a reality show where the CEO of like a large company has to spend like an entire maybe like week living off of the salary of his or her like lowest paying employee, and then just see how they would survive in such like a circumstance. Because if you're not paying your employees a livable wage, then why do you have employees? This comes back to like the whole idea of like unpaid internships. Like yes, you can get experience from doing it, but experience don't pay the bills. I'm pretty sure AOC said that.
Yeah. No, like, yeah, it's like not a livable wage. Like, are you kidding me? Yeah, and like especially because the proposal is to raise the minimum wage like $15 by 2025. By 2025, inflation is still going. So even now, $15 is like maybe okay. That's like, but like that's in 2021. But in 2025, like $15 is not gonna be the same, like worth as it is today.
Especially because like some families need it now because it's like during the pandemic, like there's like people who are like much poorer and they're like in like much worse conditions, so then they need more money now. Like they can't wait until 2025 when the pandemic's over. Like they can't see that far ahead.
Ooh, wait, I'm reading this article. I'll link it to the thing later. We'll link this article, but I'm reading it off of www.epi. In Alabama or Mississippi, a single adult without children will need to work full-time and earn at least $18.50 per hour in 2025. In cities like Chicago, Miami, and Phoenix, they would need even more, at least $20 per hour. And in cities like New York or San Francisco, that number will be about $30 per hour. So like that's just like a single adult too. And like imagine if you have children, like that you need way more than that. And so yeah, like even like $18.50, that's like in rural areas. Now imagine like in cities, especially like like they said, San Francisco and New York, that's like $30 per hour. That's literally double as much as they're proposing. So like $15 is clearly not enough.
Okay, anyways, is it time to eat the rich?
Yes, it's been time. Oh my god. Eat the rich. Is there a song? I'll make it right now. Eat the rich. No, they're not. Listen, the rich is very selfish, and like also so many of them are like they write off their taxes all the time. So like they don't even pay taxes, and yet they're making like billions of dollars per minute. People like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. The fact that they're about to be like trillionaires, like absolutely insane. Like what's that comparison?
And the fact that people are still defending them too. Oh my gosh. Like
what?
they're not gonna pick
like
you, okay?
Yeah. So pick me.
Choose
But they're
you.
not gonna give you money.
No.
What are they gonna do for you? Why are you? No, people are seriously so like they ride so hard for these people, and I'm like, they don't even know you exist, man. Like, why are you riding
Like-
so hard? You're like, no, it's not. That's not how much money. It's not liquid. Whatever the hell, whatever their argument is, I don't know what it is. They're like, oh no, it's like they're liquid assets. Shut up.
No, they
I don't
say like
care.
trickle down economics.
Oh my god.
Because they did it with like their hard work.
Ugh, it's daddy's money, bro. Oh my god, that picture that people use of I forget who it is. I think Elon Musk. It's that one picture, or is it Mark Zuckerberg? Whoever, one of those people. They're like at a computer. It's like an old picture of them really young. They're like, oh my god, look at them slaving away, hardworking. I'm like, no.
Bro,
I bet
that's
all
because
of
they
them-
could afford to take that risk.
Yeah, all of them like
bro,
had got like a
privilege.
lot of money from their like dad, from their parents.
They're
They
like,
already
they're making more money than the person who's defending them can make, like
In their life.
Yeah, exactly. Like
exactly.
the time that they're spending like defending like the people at the top, like they're not even batting an eye because they're still making money and they're still top.
Like the comparison, like people are like, oh, millionaire, billionaire. There's like such a big difference between like, look, okay, so if we look at time, so 1,000 seconds is 16 minutes and 40 seconds. 1 million seconds is 11 days, 13 hours, and 46 minutes. 1 billion seconds is over 31 and a half years. Like that's a huge like difference. Like millionaires, like okay, maybe we can accept you. But like billionaires, it's like you're insane. It's like exponentially like larger. Like you're making so much money and like you're not gonna even help out people either. Because like if you would actually help people, you wouldn't be as rich, but like you're helping people. Versus like people at the top, they're like not helping anyone at all. And if they do, they'll donate like 0.00001% of their earnings. like their daily earnings. And it's like, I don't know, you're just like prioritizing the wrong things, dude.
Then why don't they just like implement like higher taxes on them, you know? Because you would think that like because like their money worth is like much higher than like an average person, you think they would tax them more, you know? But like don't they tax like more on like the middle class and stuff too?
Yeah, so this is what people mean when they say like the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. It's because the rich know how to close, or not close, they know how to like evade taxes, find like the business loopholes. They have lawyers representing them. And this isn't something that can just be solved with billionaires donating more money to charity, because it should be up to the government to regulate businesses and prevent monopolies from happening. Because clearly, as you see, like Amazon, the company, like while it's doing like very popular, the workers are not working in safe conditions. And this is what we mean when we say eat the rich. Eat the rich is commonly attributed to Jean-Jacques Rousseau, a renowned political philosopher. You might have heard of it in your like history class at some point, but he basically says, when the people shall have nothing more to eat, they will eat the rich. So yeah.
All right, that wraps up our discussion on what they don't tell you about finances.
If you're interested in what we do and want to better understand what we're about, please check out all our socials. All ads are a voice to culture.
If you like this episode, please give us a review or like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to be notified every time we upload a video.
We'll be back soon with another episode. Please stay safe and healthy, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Eat the rich, eat the rich.
All right, I'll go ahead and start recording.